Hi everybody, Jo here again, and you know what that means. You've got the permission. Grab yourself that brew, cheeky snack, biscuit or maybe a bit of cake. Fancying a bit of cake this morning or this afternoon, or it could be evening. So maybe you're on with a glass of wine, a nice bowl of crisps. Whatever you're drinking, whatever you're eating, let's just get together and have a bit of a catchy play. So, a catchy play, what on earth is that? Do you know what? Sometimes I don't even know what's going to come out of my mouth. It is a bit of a worry. I think it's a mixture of a catch-up and a cheeky play. So today, anyway, I thought we'd have another play with Pan Pastels, and I've had so many messages from crafters who have enjoyed going back to basics and is just doing some nice, simple but effective cards. So we're going to use Pan Pastels today, but we're just going to go back to basics and have a nice, lovely, relaxing play. Now, I did do a YouTube on this design, and it was last year, and that's using Pan Pastels. So what I'll do is I'll put a link to this video in the comments in case you want to watch that as well. But also, you could maybe scroll through the videos. You never know. You might see one that you've missed and you might want to have a look. But I'll try and remember to put it in the comments. I say try and remember because, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I've definitely got lockdown brain. Do you know what? If I don't do something straight away or write myself a note, I actually forget to write myself a note that's supposed to remind me what I'm supposed to be doing. Do you know? Anyway, it just adds to life, doesn't it? So like I say, this is the design we're going to do, and we're going to have a play with our Pan Pastels. Now, Pan Pastels, they are just soft pastels, and I did a bit of research, and the reason that I'll bring one in. I'll just put the card to the side. Now, this is a Pan Pastel. They normally come with a lid like this. And this is your Pan Pastel, and the actual word pan is just referring to this container, so it's almost a shallow container. You get paints in pans as well, and as I say, it refers to just almost that container. And what it is years ago when artists were using pastels, stick pastels, and they were stood at the easel, they noticed there was quite a lot of dust coming off the pastels and it was getting in the chest, and so they decided to compact the pastel into this shallow container, a pan, and call it a Pan Pastel, and it'd be an easier way for them to use them, and they ingested less of the dust and the little molecules that come off. So that's what your Pan Pastels are. Now, they do have a screw lid. I actually keep all mine separate in a big A4 storage container, but you can, should you wish, take the lid off, and they do have the ability, they do screw to each other. So if you wanted to get rid of your lids and actually have them all in a large, look, one on top of the other, you could do that. Me, I don't know, I'm just a bit funny. I like mine all in the individual with their lids, but it's up to you. As always, you can get trays to put them in, which is even easier. I just put mine in a container, but now I'm just going to use, this is Multifarious card, and I've gone for a 14 centimetre square piece, just because for me, the finished piece, this one, is on a 6x6 card blank, and I buy card blanks ready-made, and for me, a 6x6 is an ideal size because it's great for just sending through the post. But also this design, again, I've left without a sentiment, but I've left plenty of space. I could leave this butterfly off and pop a sentiment there. I could also just put a sentiment along the bottom, look. And that would be, I don't know if I've got one stamped out ready. No, but if I wish, I wouldn't lose anything, just adding a nice sentiment there. And for me, I like to leave my cards and add my sentiment later, depending on what it's for. This, I mean, again, this is very generic. It would make a lovely birthday card, a get well card, a thinking of you card. I like sending cards, and inside I just put hug in a card. It doesn't have to say any more than that. It's just a hug in a card. Again, and that would be perfect. And that's what I'll be doing with this one. Later today, it will just be sent off to one of the ladies in my workshop group who I think just needs a little bit of cheeriness sending in the post. So to start off with, As I say, you can use Pan Pastels on lots of surfaces. They work really well on embossed card, linen card, anything with a bit of tooth, a bit of texture. The only thing for me then is obviously they're not as easy to stamp on. So we're going back to, like I say, a nice bit of just a nice, gentle, simple card. You know I love my Meadow design, sort of, and for me, it's a win-win. Right, time to roll my sleeves up. What we're going to start off with is a neat little trick that I want to show you. And that's we're going to use the Wildflower Stamp. And I'm going to put it on my block. Again, I'm using stamps that we've used before. So do remember, so these are Lavinia stamps. And do remember, you know, I am one of those crafters that likes my stamps. They've got to earn their money. You know, I like to use them again and again and again. I'm not somebody who's going to say, oh, especially to my workshop ladies, that 1 week buy this stamp, you need it for a workshop and never use it again. You know, value for money, we do use these. And as you know, anybody who follows me, I do use the stamps again and again. Now, what we're actually going to do is these here, which are almost in the background. And I don't know if you can see, they're slightly different. They look further away and have a different tone. And I'll show you how we get that. Now, I know it's square, so I don't know why I turned it round. Hey-ho. Sorry, just going to grab a drink of water. You know what this naughty throat of mine is like, but it's not going to stop me. When I was little, you know, my nickname was Chatterbox. My mum always says it's going to take a lot to stop me actually talking. So we're using our Versamark. So this is our sticky ink pad or any sort of ink pad. And again, with this, you're going to get a watermark effect. And we're doing this first. So I just want, and to almost frame the design, I want two quite tall of the flowers. So that's one either side. And then I'm just going to come in and then create the ones in the middle. Now, because I can see that slight watermark effect, I mean, again, do make sure your stamps are clean for this. I'm just going to add a few. I don't want to go too high, and I don't want them, you know what I'm like, I don't want them in a row. We'll just have one more there. And I can just see that watermark effect. I don't know if you can pick that up. So that's with my sticky ink. And what happens is your Pan Pastel is going to adhere to the sticky ink. And this is a great thing to do. I love doing it with the grandchildren. What you can do is if you stamp an image, it's a great thing to do, and then almost pretend that there's nothing on the card and then wipe your Pan Pastels over. Honestly, it gets a great result. Especially if people haven't seen it before. It's great to do in a workshop if ladies haven't seen it or gentlemen haven't seen it before. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to create the sky, and we're going to come over this area and you'll see how the Pan Pastels react. So I'm just going to use, I've got one of these. You can get various applicators, that's the word. And the little things on the end here are called socks, and you can change your socks, so you can keep one for each colour. And I'm just going to start off with, I want this sort of bright yellow. I want to just have the idea of the sun. I'm not going to create a round sun because it's not that sort of design. I just want almost that idea. And as I say, we want to keep it nice and as simple as we can. So I'm just going to put a bit of the, again, if you only had one orange or one, you know, it doesn't have to be these specific colours. Now I'm going to add blue next. And as you're aware, blue and yellow make green, so it may get a bit of a greeny tinge, but that doesn't matter. But what I must just tell you, it's so funny. I did a workshop once where we were using Pan Pastels, and on the workshop list it said for the ladies to bring their applicator and with a spare sock. And this is spelled S-O-X, a spare sock. And sure enough, two of the ladies turned up, and yes, they had actually brought a spare sock that goes on your foot. And they merrily got them out and held them up and said, "Jo, what do we need this old sock for?" And I have to say, it stayed with me ever since, and it makes me chuckle every time I get my Pan Pastels out and see the socks. I can see these specific ladies holding the socks up saying, "What do we need the spare sock for?" I suppose it's one of those things you had to be there, but honestly, it was so funny. Now, what I'm going to do now is I've got some other, and these are just sponge applicators, and I'm just going to take some of a lighter blue that I've got here, and I'm just swiping it across. I don't want to rub because then I'll almost get more of that dust. Just a swipe will give you enough of the pastel. And I'm just going to come in, and as I say, look, where I start to go over this, look at that. How those flowers, I mean, honestly, you could do a card in itself just by this area. But obviously I want to show you how we can use it in the finished design. And as I say, I'm not worried if it goes a little. I'm just going to come a little bit further down because I want to show you. Look at that, where the Versamark is. I've got to be honest, I mean, that for me is starting to look. Now, don't worry about the sky. I know it looks a bit of a dog's dinner, but we're going to work on it. And what I'm going to do is just blend a little bit more just around the edge, and I'm actually going to bring in a darker, and with these sponges I tend to have, this is my darker blue side, so again I'm going to hold it flat and bring in some darker blue, and just round the edge I'm just going to almost bring in some darker blue and then just take a little across here. And then what I tend to do at this stage is I've got a white, a lovely white, and again I'm going to come in with another, and I'm just going over the top of the whole lot now, almost just to blend it and give this almost, it's quite this white one is, it's got a bit of a, let me just have a look at the back, white coarse, this is a pearl, and it almost has that glittery. And I just want that almost haziness in the sky. Tap that off. Try not to push your hands across it. It's quite tempting. For me, if I have any little bits that I want to, I just have one of these little cotton little pads, and I'm just going to lightly, it's just, you'll get the pan pastel on your hands, and if you brush it, you're going to get different colours. So just try to be in the habit of that. So I'm just very lightly using my little cotton pad. So for me, I just think that's building up. And it's just a lovely way. It's a different product to use. So now I'm going to come in with my green. And I've got some light green here. So obviously to try and get distance, we want a lighter colour. So I'm just coming in with the light green. And also if you look, I've got a nice soft, I've gone from that blue into that green. And I wanted a hazy sort of background. In fact, if I just come in with a little bit of the yellow just in there, so we've not got a harsh line. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then I need, there's my dark green. And I've got a dark green. So again, a swipe across, and this time I'm going to work upwards because I want it darker at the base, and I'm just going to come up here, working my way up. And then my hardest bit is remembering which pad, which is the colours. So come in with the lighter green just to blend, and we'll have a little bit of that white. There we go. So I hope you can see that. So that's just the basic background. Now, one thing I do want to just share with you is you can rub Pan Pastel out, and you can use a normal rubber for this. But there's a wonderful little invention, and I'm such a child, called a rotating eraser. Now, honestly, if you haven't got one of these, just because of the pure fun of it, you need one. But what happens is, when it rotates, it takes the pastel off. So if I wanted to highlight, say here, I could actually highlight round the flower. Now, I'm just going to, again, try not to use your hands, just brush, and I just want to bring that up to show you. Now, I'm not going to highlight my flowers, so I'm just going to go back and add a bit of pastel into that. But the reason I've got mine is I want to almost add some clouds, almost a bit like it's the mist across the sky. So I'm going to press, and I'm just going to take out some colour, just in a sort of cloudy fashion. Now again, I know that looks a bit of a dog's dinner, but once I rub the bits off. And it's a great way of making clouds. But then I'm just going to come back in and go over the top. Now the beauty of this is if you didn't like it, you can come in and add more, add less. I'm just going to come in with my white and just almost blend a bit more of the white, because I just want that to look sort of in the background. And there we go. So it's just given us those clouds, that almost that look in the background. Now the beauty of this, you can keep adding or taking away. So for instance, I want a little bit more dark blue. I just want to deepen up these edges. I'm just dragging it in the edge and a little bit just in the middle. And then, where's my light blue? Just blend it in a little bit. And you just build up. I mean, you could have left it as it was. Like I say, it's just me being me. I just wanted a bit more. And then come in with the white in there, just to frame it a little bit more. And I just, for me, that is so much better. I'm just going to come in with my cloth, my little pad, and just, yeah. And for me, I'm happy with that. And I'm just going to carry on with this dark blue, actually, and bring some in from the side and along the bottom, just to frame it. We are going to add some more stamping round the bottom. And then let's just brush away. There we go. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think that looks much more, it's framed, so we can do our stamping now. So I'm just going to clean this up, because you know me. Let's move these to one side. Now again, I've got to be honest, using these, I tend to make 3 or 4 backgrounds in one go. So especially using these colours, and once you've got them out, for me, like I say, I would make quite a few backgrounds out, leave them ready to be stamped up. So we'll just dry our area and bring in our stamping mat. Sorry, did I knock my lamp then again? I even put my stamp in my pile of copy paper on the other side so I wouldn't knock it, and I did. So I'm just going to have another little sip of water, if you forgive me. I'll leave you that there for you to look at. Sorry, excuse me. It's like this, you've got lots of possibilities. You know, we've got the birds. If you've got the flying birds, they would look lovely there. Here, we've got lots of things we can add. So we're going to add some stamping. I'm just going to put it to the side. And we're going to go first for, we're going to add a few, I think, of the Wildflower. A few, but in solid. So obviously you can stamp on top of your Pan Pastels beautifully. In fact, there's so many things you can do with them. I've got so many YouTubes planned that we're going to use them. Can't wait to share all the ideas with you. So we're just going to add a few solid of the Wildflower. So just so, let's do it a second generation there. And I'm using a blue ink for this. And this one is the Twilight. I don't want to do too many. And again, I'm making sure they're not at the same height. So we get that lovely Wildflower. Let's have one there. And then it does need one there, doesn't it? I think just for balance. I think we need, just alter the angle slightly. And then I think we'll call it a day with the Wildflower. And again, I'm just wiping my stamp with a damp cloth, just because that's what I do. I have to clean mine, I'm afraid. So I'm going to come in now with the field grass, just because I want something light, and hopefully we're building up some depth here. Now for this one, I'm coming in with my Nocturne, the black ink. And this, I want to bring some black into the design. But this is such a light stamp, such a lovely stamp. The fact that you can see through it adds to that wispiness. As you know, this is one of my favourite stamps because it's just going to add depth, but also, like I say, when I walk Eric down the field, I just see that whatever time of year, we've got these lovely wisps and they move in the wind. They look lovely with the frost on them. Let's just put one at that angle. just one more, I think, over here. I'm just going to turn it round and then we can have a little look how it's building up. Now, should we put, no, I like that. So we've got the distance here with our Pan Pastel over the Versamark flowers, and then we've got them in solid, and then we've come down, we've got some grass here. I just think it does need another grass just slightly coming off here. I think that looks better. And so what we need now is just something at the foreground, and I've got the perfect stamp for that, and that's this lovely little lavender stamp. Now again, if you're not sure how it's going to look, use your acetate like we've said before. So I'm happy with that. And I think I'll go back with the twilight. Now you could do a mixture, I might do the odd one in black, but again I'm afraid I've got to turn it sideways. So I'm just thinking, so where the spaces are, this is where I want to come in with my lavender. And it'll just give us interest, but also it'll help with depth. Now I don't have to fill every space in. As you know, it's nice to have space for your eye to rest. But obviously we've got that up here in the sky. And you'll find almost as the Pan Pastels settle, it looks better. So don't be too hard on yourself if you've not used them before. If it's your first time using them, just take your time and practice. And for me, that's where this little cotton pad comes in, just to help take almost like the top residue off and to help blend. Now I think I might just add a few, just a couple in black, just so I've got some bold features. So I'm just thinking here, I don't want to add too many. See, I'm in my own head now going, don't do a pizza. Yeah, stop. We want a meadow, not a pizza, don't we? I've got to be honest, I think that's looking lovely so far, isn't it? And look, if you just, this is so effective. Now I think I'll just add one butterfly for this, you know. And I'm using them off this lovely butterfly. There's 4 on here, and with them being silhouette, it's just nice because it's what you would colour over with on your Pan Pastel. Lots of things you can use. We'll come to that in another video. As I say, we just want a nice simple. So for me, a silhouette is perfect. So I think this silhouette butterfly, and again, use the acetate. I think we'll just go for the big one. And I think we'll do him in black. But as I say, if you've got the flying birds, they'd look lovely. Or a dragonfly. But I just wanted something in silhouette just for me. And I'm thinking, oh, I've got some ink on the corner. I don't want to, if I get a blob of ink, I'm going to need another butterfly, aren't I? So let's just have one. It's funny, when you're a crafter, if you get a card off somebody else and it's got a butterfly on, do you instantly think, was there a mark under there? Or did they actually want the butterfly? It's one of those, isn't it? So I've just got a little bit where it's not quite, so I'm just going to use my black pencil, just get rid of that. So it's perfect. Now, I've got, where's it gone? My fine liner. Let's just add a couple of, so we've got a bit of movement. And then I'm going to come in with my white pen and just add a couple of little, I don't want a lot of highlights because I don't want to take away. I think this is so beautiful. Don't want to overdo it, but I do like, as you know, the white highlights, so we'll just add a few, and there'll be that side on that one. This one, like I say, it's like the sky. It's nice to actually get used to it. We tend to put the moon in, or you know, a definite, so it's nice to have almost that. If you look at the sky, quite often you do have that sort of haze, so we don't know exactly where the sun is, but it's somewhere there. Now, to frame it, because I've done this a 14 to go on my card blank, I've no room for matting and layering. So I know quite a lot of you ask about card sizes, and this is just the right. If I bring the finished one in, so a 14 centimetre is just the, you haven't got a lot of room for matting and layering. So I'm doing the faux matting and layering with my black Sharpie. But if you wanted to actually put this on a black piece of card, maybe do 13.5 as your base card, and then your black card could be 14 centimetre square. But for me, I'm just going to add my black line. And I know I get black Sharpie on my ruler, but like I say, my ruler's a tool and proves I'm using it. And it saved me quite a lot of pennies in black card over the years, so do you know what? Any black pen, if you've got a permanent marker that you use, again, we all have our go-to ones, don't we? There we go. And again, I always just wipe the pen off. I know it will stain my ruler, but I don't want to get it on my hands next time I pick my ruler up. Now, you could leave it there, but, so I'm just going to move my ink pads out of the way. Got to be a tidy crafter. Could leave it there, but I want to add a little bit of sparkle. So I'm going to come in with one of the new Eco Glitters. And this one's peacock feathers. And I just thought we'd go on the green tones. We've used blue and green, but I just fancied the green. So I'm going to come in with my Quickie Glue pen. And what you'll find is where there's moisture anyway, the glitter will stick. So I'm just going to add a couple of dabs with my Quickie Glue pen. But because I've got moisture in the stamping that probably isn't dry, it may stick to quite a bit, which is fine because it saves me putting my Quickie Glue pen anyway. So I'm just going on the larger flowers. Let's go on the lavender. Let's have some on the lavender. Sort of a dabbing motion. I have to say, the lovely glass jars that these come in. As much as I don't want to use it up, I can't wait till it's finished so I can have the glass jar. Now, is that sad, or does anybody else feel like that? Now, look, this is a mixture of lots of different size pieces. So I'm going to put it all over my flowers. And yes, I'm going to put a lot on. But again, we'll just put it back in the jar when we've finished, won't we? Get myself my brush and just tap that off. And again, try not to brush, because with the pastel, it's better if you just tap. And it makes me feel good to do this. And yes, I know I'm sad, but look at that. I'll stand up in a minute to show you properly, because I don't know if you could get that. But I just want to put this back in my pot. Because if I put it to one side to do later, you know I'm going to knock it all over. And I do not want to waste a tiny drop of this. There we go, tap that off. Put that down. Back in my pot. Let's move this. And let me do the professional bit. If I bring this up, I know it's not that obvious, but if I just... So hopefully you can see we've got the Pan Pastel in the background, look. That's over the Versamark, and again, depending on the light, look at the different. I mean, I just wish you could actually see this, because you know, me doing this, it just doesn't really do it justice. It's trying to get it in the right. Can you see there with the glitter? So pretty, and I just think it goes with those colour tones. And honestly, how nice was that to make? I've got to be honest, I enjoyed making it. I bring in the original so you can see, and the one we've just created. So I hope you have a go at that. I hope you, if you've got some Pan Pastels, get them out and have a bit of fun. If not, maybe treat yourself to some. A couple of colours to start off with. But if not, you can use your inks in a similar sort of way. We've done lots of backgrounds with inks, you know, we've done the stamping like this. because as you know, I love the Meadows. So I'm hoping you've enjoyed that. As I say, I've got lots of techniques, other techniques to show you with the Pan Pastels, but this one's a nice fun one to start off with. And again, I keep saying it, but we all need a bit of fun, don't we? And it's nice that we can have fun together. So thank you for joining me. Thanks for spending a bit of time with me. And I hope you're keeping well. Keep your chin up. I've got to be honest, with me, it's more like chins. You know, I am keeping my chins up, and we're going to keep going because the end is in sight. And I have to say, definitely, certainly here in the UK, spring is, the field this morning had lots of cock pheasants in, male pheasants. There was a little bunny rabbit ran past my front door last night. So I think everything's wakening up. And, you know, it does give me a really good sign and makes me feel so much better. So I'm going to pass that on to you. And today I'm going to send you all a hug, not in a card, but via YouTube. So I'm your little friend who's tapped on your door and just delivered that hug, but we're doing it via YouTube. So you take care. I'll see you again soon. Love to everybody. Bye for now.